Yes. Great. How do you feel? Tired? By the end of the day, you'll feel a little bit tired, maybe. So, but hopefully, we can have a little bit of a dialogue at the end. I am very interested in the wisdom in this room. I'm interested in you, actually. So, when we sit like this in a conference, I always think that it's very interesting what we hear from up here. But even more interesting is all the wisdom that is in the room. So, we are here for GNH in business, but I must admit that my real reason to be here is not that. Because, let us say in 100 years, I don't know if we even have businesses any longer. Maybe we have a completely different system. Maybe we start giving each other what we need instead. Maybe we don't even sell anything. I don't know. Maybe when this guy grows up, it is completely different. Who knows? So, my real reason to be here is not business, but that I am so convinced that we need each other. I need you, at least. I need your wisdom, and I need your compassion, and I need us to share with each other, and that's why I'm here. So I have a deep wish, and that is to create some kind of community of practice along with this subject, GNH in business, or whatever it might mean in the future, to continue sharing between the conferences also, because what has touched my heart mostly in this conference, and also the last one I was in, is not really what is happening in the talks, but what happens in between, in the pause, when we meet. So I would really look forward to maybe also innovate the form of the conferences, but also to create a kind of a community of practice where we can continue sharing. Also from what you said, I got inspired. I must also say that I have a kind of a farmer's background. So I am an academic, yes, but I'm more also, I'm a farmer from my roots. So what really touches my heart here in Bhutan is the farmers, because I can recognize myself and my background. And I also have a kind of a farmer's mindset with this paper and the presentation, which is kind of pragmatic. So it's kind of down to earth. Somehow it might not be so new to you, but I hope that it's my way of sharing so that we can get to know each other, because this is my real reason to be here. I just want to introduce you also to my friends in Sweden. And from Samdu Chatri, who just sitting here, yeah, I learned that working with GNH is like being a gardener. I remember when you said that you're a gardener, so it's so inspiring to us. And we call ourselves gardeners also. Also with this farmer's mindset, it's like being close to what's growing. So this is the kind of intention and the kind of mindset that we have in Sweden. Yeah. As you can see, it's many women in our board, many female gardeners. That is not a coincidence. That is a choice. And we are working with many different things in Sweden. We are working with businesses and cities, as we are going to talk about now. We're also working with society, political things. One interesting thing that we are really into just now is co-creating an international platform on welfare, where countries and regions can share experiences of welfare measurements. So this is really on the way now. First meeting was in Scotland a couple of weeks ago. So this is happening. Our Minister of Finance was there also, as well as other countries, I think. And we are creating think tanks to support this. We're also working on the personal level, because we believe that everything starts with ourselves somehow. So this we are doing in a way that kind of takes on the essence. It's spirituality, building community, but we are doing it in a way that takes out the essence of all religions, so that everyone can feel open and free to meet. So now the focus of this presentation is very pragmatic and very down to earth. How do we do it in Sweden? And maybe it's not so innovative, but I just want to share, just to start this community that I want to have. And what we do in Sweden mainly when we work with organizations is that we start with the intention. Of course, I mean, what is the use of working with something if people don't want it? So first we start with the intention, how to motivate. How do we make people interested in this? Next thing, we see how do we design this? Because we cannot maybe do the same thing in the garden of pears as in the garden of bananas. And we can definitely not do it in the same way when we want to mix the pears and bananas, right? So then we start looking for the key leverage points, how to kind of find those keyholes where we open the most important doors. How do we find places of transformation? And then, the longer we work with the organizations, we find that we need each other. This is true not only for me or for us in GNH Sweden, but for everyone we meet. So that's why we start this kind of communities of practice where we can share. Because businesses might end, but as long as we are human beings, we are going to need each other and we're going to want to share. So these are some of the organizations that we have been working with in Sweden. Not all, but some. And from these, we have chosen 4, just for this paper, to show some cases. I'm not going to talk about these cases in this presentation. You have to read my paper for that. But I'm just going to tell you which they are. It is 1 municipality, 1 university hospital, and then 1 hotel, and then there is 1 high-tech company also. And why I chose this is because they are so different. Not because they are the most, maybe, successful ones in every case, but because they are very different and they show different aspects very well. So first, intention. How do we get people interested? I don't think it's possible to motivate somebody else. However, we can maybe align to somebody else's deepest interest. And this is how we do it. One way is, of course, it's very natural, this is nothing new, maybe, but start where it hurts. Where does it hurt? In this organization, where do people suffer? What do they need help with? So maybe it's, for example, diversity. Maybe they cannot get along. So then we start with diversity. And from there, we make the map wider so that people can understand that we are not only solving this particular problem separately, we are solving it together within the framework of something bigger that's called GNH. So that's how we started. Another way of entry, you can say, is the global sustainability goals. So many organizations in Sweden are interested in this. This is not something we need to ignite. This is happening anyway. Sweden is one of the most forward countries in working with this. So that's one very natural entry point. But the global goals have one a little bit lack, you can say. Because when you compare it to GNH, then GNH has a kind of a way of being more whole. Of course, it's deeper also, but deeper and wider. But it has also a kind of a tendency to be a tuning fork, you can say. So that when you put the sustainability goals around it, like a sun like this, you will find that there are two dimensions in GNH missing. Time use and inner well-being are not present, as I can see it, in the sustainability goals. So that is why we have concentrated on that very much in our work. Also, this kind of image makes it easier for companies to work with the sustainability goals because it's more whole and they get an overview like this. Second thing is, how do we design it? How do we make a garden for both pears and bananas? Imagine a building like this. So this building is made of floors and of apartments. So for a second, imagine that you are living in this building. And at the base, bottom floor, you can find one apartment in each direction. You have one apartment for the direction of the individual, one for the collective, one for the inside and one for the outside. And this image is not new for some of you, I guess. I'm just sharing how we are doing it. In working integrally, of course, these all have to be aligned. So that inside for the individual, the personal values, the driving force of the individual have to be in alignment with what you are doing concretely. Inside has to be in alignment with the outside, otherwise you're not happy. So this has also to be in alignment with what the other colleagues feel and want and long for. If you are the only one who long for kind of a community of practice or whatever it is, if I'm the only one here longing for that and you all think about something completely different, well, then it's not in alignment, then I'm in the wrong place or something. So if this is in alignment, if we all want this, if we all want to share our results like this, then it's in alignment. And then if we also organize ourselves like this, if we say that not only give open invitations like this, but if we also take the step to organize ourselves like this, that we say that, okay, after this conference, let us organize this community of practice, let us do it. Then it's whole somehow. And then it is ready for leveraging to the next floor. And then we have different floors in this house also. Oh, these are these are now messing with each other. How very interesting. This is very funny. Anyway, there is one level, one floor of kind of survival mode. There is one floor of symbiotic connections. And there is one floor of just taking what is mine. Another floor of following what is just right, doing what is right, law and order, stability. And then there is one floor of efficiency, results, branding. Because somewhere along the way you will feel that only doing what is right is not enough. Sometimes we have to go outside the box to get the results. And when you get out of the box to get the results, sooner or later you will feel that this feels very shallow. We don't only want profitability and results and everything. We want relations too. Like Mr. Samdu said here some days ago, we need to think about relations also. This is also important. At that level, at that floor, we start thinking about relations, values, trust, these things. But then after a while, maybe you will feel that, why don't people listen to me? I'm talking about trust here. I'm talking about values. Why don't they listen to me? This is so very obvious. Yes, because we haven't yet learned how to go up and down in the elevator of this building. We need to integrate. On the next floor, we can learn how to move up and down in this house also, to change hat, depending on which garden you're in. Is it pears or bananas, or both? That's when you are like, what you call it in music, this kind of musical conductor. I don't know the word. Maestro, yes, like this. Because then you can combine this kind of instrument and that kind of instrument, and it's all like an orchestra like that. And then after a while, maybe you're matured enough to just lay down these, what you call it, maestro sticks, and just realize that, look, the orchestra is orchestrating itself. It's like moving itself. It's like natural. Wow. That's when we come to this holistic level, or not. From this whole, there will emerge new visions. And I guess this is the floor from which GNH is kind of emerging.
So
I guess this is not new to you, but it's important. So this is including and transcending. Next, transformation. In transformation, we are working with GNH, and we are working with Theory U, as you might know. What we are doing also is that we are combining these two, so that we can start in one dimension, and then we go down, we transform, and we might end up in another one. This is how we work in business. So this is how they are integrated in each other, just like you mentioned. You can maybe up. Another thing that, let me go back. Another thing that, that we are working a lot with is decisions. Because we are realizing that one thing that is a real key leverage point is decision-making. That's why we are developing now decision-making models for each different floor. I'm not going to talk about this now because we don't have time, but these are the models we are working with. What we learn from these different organizations is lots of things that I will write in my paper. But mainly leadership, mindset, innovation, and we need a certification. So thank you for this morning. This is what we are asking for, certification. There is a small booklet, you can ask me for it if you like, where some of the methods are also described. And the results. The most important thing I want to say today is this community of practice. We are building one in Sweden. And I would love one internationally too. Yeah. Let's stop there. It's better if somebody has some kind of question or something. I don't need to go through everything. You can read my paper also. The most important thing I want to say is this. Let's share. Let's continue sharing. And next time that we meet in this kind of form, I would really love to create the conference in such a way that we can make use of all the wisdom in the room. That would be very, very fun.